Salutations. Captain America here. Today we're going to be looking at a video Tony set me up with. He said this young man would be an excellent warm-up, as he's aggressive and doesn't seem to know what he's talking about. That, and he appears to have dressed himself up as some amalgamate of a street thug and a supervillain, making him the clear choice for my first video.
Feminism isn't needed in the Western world. Or so that's what a lot of you fucking idiots keep saying. If you are an anti-feminist, you might want to click away from this video, because you're about to get fucking decimated.
Huh. With arms like those, you remind me of me before I took the super soldier serum. I'd like to see you try.
Feminism is the advocacy of women's rights on the grounds of political, social, and economic equality to men.
A movement that really does what it says it does doesn't need a dictionary definition to hide behind. And more importantly, dictionary definitions aren't always up to date. The dictionary does not reflect the modern usage of words. It's there to catalog how words have been used historically. As the usage of our language progresses, it will change. You should turn to an encyclopedia. Feminism is a range of political and social movements as well as ideologies that share a common goal: to define, establish, and achieve equal political, economic, personal, and social rights for women. This includes seeking to establish equal opportunities for women in education and employment. Feminists typically advocate or support the rights and equality of women. From an unbiased, purely scholarly point of view, that's exactly what feminism is. But in order to understand the social usage of feminism, we would have to dive much deeper.
Keyword, equality. Now, the reason I have to point this out is because people say stupid shit like egalitarianism is better than feminism, even though it's basically the same thing.
And that's not incorrect. Egalitarianism, from French égal, meaning equal, is a trend of thought that favors equality for all people. Egalitarian doctrines maintain that all humans are equal in fundamental worth or social status, according to the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, the term has two distinct definitions in modern English, either as a political doctrine that all people should be treated as equals and have the same political, economic, social, and civil rights, or as a social philosophy advocating the removal of economic inequalities among people, economic egalitarianism, or decentralization of power. Some sources define egalitarianism as the point of view that equality reflects the natural state of humanity. Now, if you would please tell me how that differs from your definition of feminism. That's right. Egalitarianism does not have an emphasis on the rights of females. Egalitarianism is a movement that fights for the rights of all people, regardless of gender or race. And seeing as some people would take the fem in feminism to mean whatever they like, that makes egalitarianism the less biased movement. The individual can take feminism for whatever they like. For example, Krista Melbourne, the Femitheist. In 2012, this feminist introduced the idea of International Castration Day. I don't think I have to explain what that is. And the worst part is, there were many feminists that considered it as an option. Moreover, she's a woman who believes in reducing the male population by 80%. Does that sound like equality to you, Onision? To me, that sounds like genocide, and that is un-American. Do not be mistaken. I'm not conflating that all feminists are this way. I am elaborating on how the term feminism can be abused.
They both call for equal rights. But for some fucking reason, despite the fact that they're basically the same thing, you guys can't get over the fact that it starts out with fem, as in female. The word defined starts with fem. For some fucking reason, your brain just turns off after that point.
Yes. It's for the very reason I just elaborated on. Feminism is not a controlled term. It can be used to any means.
Here's someone saying the literal definition of feminism doesn't have meaning. And here's where you get fucking wrecked. This is the definition, and the main argument people have against it is that feminists do not follow this definition. So I ran a fucking poll, and over 1,000 people voted. 69% of feminists believe that women are equal to men.
If you ask a criminal if he committed a crime, would he say yes? Every evildoer believes they are on the side of justice. You are no keeper of truth, Onision. And the audience that responded to your poll, well, they certainly think they're doing good.
So the mass majority of feminists follow the fucking definition of feminism, and your main argument against feminism is that feminists don't fit the definition. You see feminazis, which are extremists, and your fucktard brain mixes that up with regular feminists. That's on your inferior intelligence.
Or perhaps it's a reflection of how bad feminism is at policing its own ranks. Perhaps, instead of laying blame on everyone else for the conflation of feminism with its extremists, feminists should attempt to trim their own hedges, so to speak, and unify under a common code of conduct. This would prevent such extreme feminists from raising their voices. Perhaps feminism needs to organize itself, because whatever it's doing, it isn't working.
It has nothing to do with actual reality. Your problem is you prioritize your closed-minded personal experiences over the fucking truth. If the literal facts don't match your personal experiences, you fucking ignore them.
I believe I'm sensing some projection here, instead of acknowledging the truth that there are many extremists within your ranks. You default back to your dictionary definition and tell everyone else you're wrong. There is a very big difference between your truth and the truth. The truth is, your boat is sinking, and you're doing nothing to find a new boat. You're shoveling water out of your deck like a fanatic, screaming, "No, everything's okay, you're wrong. My boat is absolutely fine."
And that is why, in this moment, you should be humiliated for ever standing against feminists, the mass majority of which have literally been supporting exactly the fucking message I've been arguing all this time.
Just because there are many of you does not mean you are correct.
And because I know you're so fucking stupid, even now that you've been proven wrong, you still won't admit your defeat in the fucking comments. Because that's the type of fucking person you are. You're a fucking scumbag liar who doesn't care about the truth, only their personal agenda, against a group of people they don't even fucking understand. You say feminism is not needed in the Western world. This is one explanation of what the Western world is, and here's a map if that wasn't clear enough. We're talking Australia, Canada, United States, UK, etc. Speaking of UK, according to this, women still cannot serve on the front lines. That is not equality, and that calls for feminism.
You would be correct. Women should be allowed, just as men, to serve on the front lines of the battlefield. But I dare you to find a bunch of women rallying for that cause, because serving on the front lines means a very high chance of going to your death. And I can tell you, it takes a very firm patriot to want to die for your country. I don't see very much patriotism among feminism's ranks, and I certainly don't see very many feminists clamoring to die for their country. More importantly, though, is the matter of the draft. I can only speak for America, but any man who registers in America to vote is automatically signed up for the draft. When will feminism take a stand and say that women should be signed for the draft as well?
Apparently, some people have tried to oppress women by implying men should pay less for healthcare than women.
This is because men are conditioned not to seek outside help for their problems. Men will go to the hospital and seek the benefits of their medical insurance far less often than women. Because women, when they are concerned for their health, are not discouraged from seeking outside help. As a result, men cost a lot less to insure than women do. And yet men pay the same rate as women. This may entirely be due to the fact that men are often seen more as risk-takers and more willing to sacrifice their personal well-being in order to gain. And by that logic, a man, when they finally do go to the hospital, will be receiving a much more expensive procedure than a woman. Instead of statically stating that one gender or the other should pay more or less for their health insurance, why don't we instead base the monthly price of medical insurance entirely off of how often the individual visits their benefits? Just like any man or woman's pay is entirely based off of how much or how hard they work.
Another example of why we in the Western fucking world need feminism. The US women's soccer team gets paid disgustingly less than the US male soccer team. And this is exceptionally odd because according to this article, their most recent World Cup was the most watched soccer game in American television history.
American television history. Not international television history. You have to realize that soccer is an international sport. By and large, men's soccer is more watched, internationally, than women's soccer. This generates a higher revenue. Thus, the sports stars are paid more.
And if they're getting more views, they should at least get equal fucking pay. This is why we need feminism in the Western fucking world. Apparently in Texas, maxi pads and tampons were being confiscated before people could enter a courthouse, but for some fucking reason, people could still hold on to their goddamn guns.
The Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States is an inalienable right. Tampons and other female hygiene items were not permitted in the gallery. To be more clear, in the state of Texas, guns are permitted just about anywhere. It is a state that very heavily believes in a man's right to bear arms. However, within the Texas state capital, maxi pads and tampons and other female hygiene items are not allowed due to the rules of decorum. These are laws that have been in place for a long time. So this wasn't news. But if it makes you feel any better, the Department of Public Safety stopped confiscating tampons and maxi pads.
Are you fucking hearing me, anti-feminists? You are so fucking wrong, it's pathetic, and I hope at the very least embarrassing for you. Another marvelous point. As far as health insurance goes, a ridiculous amount of people object to women getting drugs related to the reproductive system, and yet when men want drugs related to the reproductive system, it's completely fucking fine.
This lies in the fundamental necessity of having an erection to procreate. That's something of an emphasis with the human race. The ability to procreate, so that we can raise another generation. Women, on the other hand, don't... You know what? I don't want to talk about it.
Individuals literally protest against things like birth control being covered by insurance, but not vasectomies and penile implants. Yes, anti-feminists, there is no need for feminists in the Western world, is there? Despite the fucking obvious inequalities. In this country, we allow rapists to sue for custody. And as you may know, the majority of rapes are committed by men against women. This is an example of a rapist being able to sue the fucking victim. And this is why we need fucking feminism in the Western fucking world. The definition of slut itself specifically states that only a woman can be considered a slut.
Tell that to any gay man who's been known for his promiscuity.
You know goddamn well that in our Western society, if a man sleeps around with women, he is far better treated than when a woman sleeps around with many men.
I hate to bring up this age-old euphemism, but a key that can open any lock is a master key. A lock that can open to any key is a bad lock.
You know for a fact this is fucking true. And this is why we need feminism in the fucking Western world. You know that tradition in our society where a man is expected to ask the father for permission or his blessing to marry his fucking daughter? And then the other tradition where the father has to walk the daughter down the aisle and hand his daughter off to the man she's going to marry? You don't ask the mom for permission. Why? Why is it portrayed as if the father owns his fucking daughter?
This is because the man, traditionally, provides for the entire family. And if the father, tasked with providing for his wife and children, sees that the man who wants to take his daughter is incapable of providing for them both, he, for the sake of his child, should be the one to say, "No, I do not want you to have my daughter," because he has been tasked with her safety.
This is why we need fucking feminism in the modern world. Because even our marital traditions are fucking sexist against women. This is how religion is divided up in the United States. Do you notice a consistency? The most popular religions in the United States have specific texts blatantly oppressing women. In the Bible, it specifically states that women were created for men. And they say this fucked up shit. The head of every man is Christ, the head of every woman is the man. Let the women learn in silence with all subjection. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor usurp authority over the man. The Bible, the majority of Americans in the Western world, yet again telling women to shut the fuck up. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her, and lie with her, then the man shall give unto the damsel fathers 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife. As you can see with other versions, it specifically states rape. So if a guy rapes a girl, she's forced to marry him. This is the book the majority of Americans in the Western world support, and this is why we fucking need feminism in the Western world.
2,000-year-old texts do not reflect modern attitudes. They are historical documents telling us of the attitudes of the common people 2,000 years ago, Note that when people take these attitudes on for themselves, they are widely reviled by today's common people. The Westboro Baptist Church, for example. I don't think it benefits anyone for you to sit there and bash all religions while you tout the line of an ideology that places women first above all else. What's even more confusing is that despite this, you complain about having to pay alimony to your ex-wife, an issue that no feminist would dare touch, because feminism thinks that women deserve that money more than men. Whose side are you even on?
Now over 2,000 people have voted, and it looks like we're up to 73%. So I've proven that the majority of feminists believe in equality, despite your obvious dumbass saying they don't.
I wasn't aware that all feminists everywhere watch your channel, and that the entirety of the feminist movement could be encapsulated in one poll of about 1,000 people.
And I've also provided many examples of why we still need fucking feminism in the Western world.
You haven't provided any evidence that there is need for feminism in the Western world. What you have demonstrated is that there are biases in your argument. Yes, we very much have need for an increased amount of equality amongst all people. But equality and feminism are not mutually exclusive, no matter how badly you want them to be.
So if you have any fucking decency, you can accept your defeat in the comments below, but I'm betting you won't, because you're a fucking disgraceful human being who likely cannot admit when you're wrong. So fuck you, you stupid piece of fucking shit!
When a man is reduced to nothing but swearing and insulting his opponent, he has already lost. Onision, you have proven that you have no idea what you are talking about. I pray that you come to your senses soon, son. Anyways, that's all I've got. I hope this video has proved entertaining. After all, even the most educational videos should have some form of entertainment value. This has been Captain America. Keep fighting the good fight. Till next time, soldier.